All right. Remember that the vote will take place tomorrow, heads of state, and they will have to get a 2/3 majority. If they do not, they will have to go for several rounds, about 3 rounds, and then thereafter the rules change. But we'll get into all of that. I'm sure Sam Gituku captured some of that on Data Point. But this is where the vote will be taking place tomorrow, where the heads of state will gather within the AU headquarters tomorrow afternoon. Citizen TV will be live right from morning until we get the final results. Will Raila Odinga make it, or will the next AUC chair be Mahmoud Yusuf Ali, or will it be Madagascar's Richard Ran Mandriat? I beg your pardon, the name is tricky. Yes, Randria Mandrato. So at this point, there has been a Kenyan delegation in Addis Ababa that flew all the way from Kenya, including governors, members of parliament, and they were treated by the candidate Raila Odinga to lunch. And Stephen Leto has the details of what the day has been like. Take a look.
Sanaa restaurant on the busy streets of Addis Ababa is where Raila Odinga hosted a Mwananchi lunch for the Kenyan delegation that traveled to Ethiopia. In his company were Governors Gladys Wanga, Anyang' Nyong'o, Abdul Swabad Nasir, Ken Lusaka and Joseph Ole Lenku, as well as several MPs. In song and dance, the Kenyan delegation sought to keep Odinga's spirit up a few hours before the election of the next African Union Commission.
It's very comfortable, very relaxed, it's in very high spirit. We had lunch together with the team here, and he's as relaxed as you take it. I don't think that there's anything much to worry about as far as the candidate is concerned. He's done his best.
We're here in Addis really to give moral support to Baba. We've seen him is in very high spirits. So we are trusting God that tomorrow we will go back home with good results. And the spirits are high. And we hope that it will be well, and we will go back home with a victory and the chairmanship of the AUC.
More than 50 members of parliament are in Addis Ababa and joined Odinga for the lunch with a visible House leadership comprised of majority leaders in the Senate, Aaron Cheruyot, and National Assembly Minority Leader Junet Mohammed.
We have seen Baba, he's in good spirits. And one of the things that I can say is that I'm very happy at the outpouring of support. There are many people who have come here, and it's across political divide.
We are praying for him, and we know very well a win for Baba is not just a win for Kenya, it's a win for Africa. And we all know Baba's passion for, human rights, democracy.
Baba himself is in that spirit. I believe he's one candidate among the very few who understands the corners of Africa.
The lawmakers are refuting claims that they have been funded by the taxpayers' money to travel to Addis Ababa.
I came on my own because of the solidarity, the patriotism, and the love I have for my country. I came on my own because I sold my bull cattle so that I can come here to witness history as a young Pan-Africanist, as a young man who loves Africa.
We have met several people from across Africa who are here, and all of them are optimistic that Raila Odinga will clinch the seat in one first round.
Tunamshika baba mkono, tunamuombea sana, tunataka hii kiti aichukue.
Kenyan delegation, however, will not have access to the AUC headquarters, where the vote will take place tomorrow.
Afrika mzima tawala Raila tawala, tunakupenda sana, tunakupenda.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Now, hours before the election for the next AUC chair is held in this room, we have had various people vouch support countries, that is, vouch support for various candidates. Now, where Raila Odinga is concerned, he continues to attract support from leaders across the continent who vouch for his election to succeed Musa Faki as the next AUC chair. Now, Ambassador Albino Abwog, a member of parliament from South Sudan who doubles up as a Pan-African Parliament member, has joined those supporting Raila Odinga's bid, and Gatete Njoroge has the reasons he gave.
With all eyes focused on Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Saturday, when heads of state and government will vote for the next African Union Commission chairperson, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's bid continues to receive support from leaders across the region.
It's good for you as a country.
Odinga's fight for democratic space in the country has endeared him to leaders from neighboring countries who want his strong stand and principles shared across the continent.
Raila have a very good chance of becoming the next chair. Looking into his background as a Pan-Africanist, the kind of freedom you are enjoying it today, somebody somehow, somewhere have fought for it. And it wasn't easy to have such freedom if nobody would have fought actually for it.
Aboch, a member of parliament in South Sudan and Pan-African Parliament, which serves as the Africa Union legislative arm, says South Sudan's decision to back Odinga's bid is due to Kenya's cordial relationship with his nation. He says under Odinga's leadership, issues related to conflicts in the eastern region, specifically in Sudan, South Sudan and DR Congo, will be addressed as he enjoys good rapport with regional leaders.
South Sudan, who have declared openly they will support Raila. Cultural-wise, Kenya and South Sudan were borders. And you don't choose your neighbors. Today is an opportunity for Kenya. Tomorrow, who knows, could be an opportunity for South Sudan.
Having served as a special envoy and engaged in AU activities, Aboch says Saturday's election will not be influenced by language and regional blocs, but will largely depend on how the three candidates have convinced the heads of state and the common interest among those nations.
It is about the interests. What is Kenya offering to the other countries? And what is Djibouti is offering for other nations? Likewise, the other countries also, what are they offering it to the Kenya? Well, every opportunity for Kenya is an opportunity for the region, is an opportunity for the continent.
Aboch, who attributes Africa problems to poor leadership, unemployment, exploitation of resources, conflicts and tribalism, says the new leadership at the African Union Commission should focus on resolving the challenges head-on.
If he wins, I will tell him, as somebody who has been in the African Union, knowing a little bit, I will advise him and say, listen, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and especially the use of the continent. See, young people from West Africa are going to Tunisia, dying at the sea.
He has urged Kenyans to rally behind Odinga's candidature, who he says enjoys good support from Eastern and Southern African nations ahead of the elections. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All over.
President William Ruto spent the better part of the day in bilateral meetings with the various leaders from different countries. Seth Olale puts the number at 6. In fact, he has been following the president around and covered some of his side events today. Seth Olale, do you have any indication of what was discussed at these meetings? Does it have to do with Raila Odinga's bid?
Both, Olive, because even apart from the bilateral talks that also focused on issues to do with security, health, infrastructure, and trade, of course, there were those, undertones on the sidelines, and all this was in an attempt to gather last-minute, support for Kenya's candidate Raila Odinga.
All right, there you have it. Let's take a look at the report.
President William Ruto was a man on a mission at the Africa Union headquarters in Addis Ababa.
Mr. President, Olive Barrister is on TV.
Hello, how are you?
Ahead of tomorrow's vote.
Relax.
What have been your priorities?
You wait.
What about African reform?
You wait.
Okay. Thank you.
With less than 24 hours before 49 nations of the Africa Union cast their vote to elect a new chairman and deputy. The head of state taking his last-minute lobbying to presidents of the Economic Community of West African States, including Senegal, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau.
It is our view, Seth, that we have done what we could. The candidate in person has been to over 30 countries, 30 capitals, engaging not just anybody, engaging at the highest level possible. The last of those engagements was in Burundi, in the northern part of Burundi, not even in Bujumbura, meeting the Burundian head of state. The president himself has been working calls since arrival yesterday. Of course, he had already held several meetings, strategic meetings with other heads of states to be able to position our candidature. But the president, during the next 48 hours, is engaging in last-minute conversations also with colleagues, as is the Prime Cabinet Secretary.
It did not end there. President William Ruto also engaged the heads of state of Algeria and Ethiopia before crossing over to the old AU building to consolidate more support from presidents attending the high-level summit on the conflict in DRC and Sudan.
The months and days of campaigning, of outreach, of engagement, of unveilings, all of those are now reduced to a mere 24 hours. Within those 24 hours, the AU Assembly will sit upon the conclusion of the ascension into office of the new chair of the African Union, President Lorenzo of Angola. The next agenda item will be the pitch by the candidates and then the elections themselves.
With the South African Development Community SADC throwing the spanner in the works by urging its 16 member states to support Madagascar's candidate for the AUC chairperson, Richard Randriamandrato. Raila Odinga's campaign secretariat says the move will have minimal impact, if any.
The letter is dated the 12th of February, merely 5 days to the election. The letter is addressed to foreign ministers. It tells foreign ministers that it kind of introduces the candidate as if nobody even within SADC knows him. It then goes ahead to say, we don't have time to hold a ministerial summit to endorse this decision, which means that that decision will not even be endorsed at the heads of states level. And so it is not a letter that endorses the Madagascar candidate. In the end, the letter merely asks, out of courtesy, it asks the region, as is expected, to support their candidate. To our minds, we think that this letter is sort of an afterthought. We think that it is mere courtesy to show a bit the minimalist solidarity extended to a member of their region. And so to our minds, we do not think that it will have any bearing, but we are not taking chances. And that is why I did mention that in light of that letter, because we already have we already have quite some assurances from a number of SADC countries of their support, we are reaching out again to SADC countries to understand what the motivations behind this letter could be.
President William Ruto will join other heads of states in participating in Saturday's decisive Africa Union Commission elections that will elect a new chairperson as well as the deputy. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
All right, I'm now joined by one Stephen Leto, and I'm curious, did he partake in the injera? Was there injera? And what is the mood of the candidate from what you could see?
I mean, the injera was sweet, the mood of the country. I mean, the candidate was good, but me, I'm excited about being inside here. Let me just walk. Let me just see it's a very big privilege, to be in an AU kind of. They have put water for all the attendees tomorrow and the chief executive. So where I'm seated right now is where maybe the partners for the AU are, and that is the section where flags are. That is where the heads of state, each heads of state ako na mahali yake amewekewa flag, and then they have translators, because there is francophone, there is anglophone, there is lusophone, so lazima kuwe na the translators in their heads. So I think all that tunafukuzwa sasa but that is how the things are being prepared. The orderlies and the people who are in charge are now telling us to wind up, but all the same, this is how the room is set. This is when the vote starts tomorrow. Everybody is ejected out of this Nelson Mandela Plenary Hall, and then only heads of states and representatives will be, given an opportunity to remain here in a closed door. So that is where the ballot box will be placed. Clearly look at how they are looking at where they are. That is where the ballot will be, and that is where the vote will be cast in a secret ballot, to ensure that will there be a candidate that will get the 2/3 in the first round. If there is no, they go to the second round, and then so it's basically telling that everything is set. This is how it looks like inside, because tomorrow things might be very, very thick. Olive. I don't know where Olive is seated. Maybe she's seated in one of the. Olive, by the way, how do you look in terms of the preparations and just getting ready for tomorrow?
Myself? Well, read up on the process, right? And get as many hours of sleep as we can get before we have to get up really early and get here. But remember, the opening ceremony will be open for viewing, because the vote will be closed, but the opening ceremony will be available for public viewing. And I'm looking forward to hear what Musa Faki's exit report will be. So we'll hear from a number of leaders. Some have been invited, especially the Barbados Prime Minister has been invited. We'll hear from the UN chief, Antonio Guterres. So there's plenty to look forward to on Citizen tomorrow. And speaking of Antonio Guterres, I'm sure the subject of the DRC will come up. I did mention at the very start that there is a high-level summit, not only on the situation in the DRC, but in Sudan as well. Now, those leaders include President William Ruto, former President Uhuru Kenyatta. We've also seen President Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania walk into that summit. And we've also seen Musa Faki, the chair of the AU Commission, sit in that meeting. We have some pictures for you. At the moment it's closed, but there will be a press briefing after at about 9:45. So until then, and until we bring you that update, allow me to hand you back over to Lillian Muli in our Nairobi studios. But remember, tomorrow, keep it Citizen TV, Inoro TV, Ramogi TV, View Sasa, Citizen Digital. See you tomorrow.